Well, it's very important for all of us to take time out on November 11th and remember and honor those who fought in the war. Well, there is also another milestone that we will be celebrating this year. Of
course, we're talking about the HMS Jervis Bay and its 65th anniversary, which is being celebrated alongside of Remembrance Day this year. Right. The HMS Jervis Bay was a convoy escort ship which has a very strong connection to St. John. When it went down at sea, it took 198 lives with it. Now, the connections between St. John and some of the families of the crew who lived in England are still very strong to this day. And some of those family members and contacts will be coming to St. John to participate in this anniversary event. That's right, Scott. And here's Brian Chisholm with more on why the Jervis Bay lives on.
Praise from land and sea. It's something that's happened after all these years, 65 years, that I couldn't really ever imagine was going to happen.
Sylvia Savin and her family have traveled to St. John from Maidenhead, England, to attend a special ceremony.
Well, when we heard that this ceremony was about to take place, we were very anxious to come over because the person that I am related to meant a great deal to me. I grew up with him. He was only 10 years older than I was.
That man was her uncle, Geoffrey Morgan. He died when the convoy escort he was serving on, the HMS Jervis Bay, was sunk in the North Atlantic 65 years ago, November 5th, 1940.
He was almost 21. He died 23 days before his 21st birthday. He was a very handsome young man. He was over 6 foot tall, and he had auburn, wavy hair. He was really handsome, and I'm sure he was a great hit with the ladies.
The Savins and relatives of other crewmen have gathered in St. John to honor the 198 men who died and the 65 survivors of the sinking. Of those 65, only 4 are still alive, all living in Canada. None were able to attend the reunion. The Jervis Bay and much of her crew spent time in St. John as the ship was refitted for convoy duty.
They got around the city and everybody knew who they were.
Veteran Clyde Shepard, a member of the Jervis Bay Legion branch, says those crewmen were special to St. Johners.
The relationship between the people who were here and the people who came to have the ship fixed here, and the friendship that was, they entwined, everybody took them to heart,
Yeah.
And then when the ship left, it was like losing a friend. And then it was sunk. That what made the difference right there. It's like, not even, it was bad enough losing armed forces at any time, but a friend that you knew, it's not a blank face, it's a friend that you can put to, and the loss of the ship also.
George Smith worked at the St. John shipyard back then.
Well, she was here about 6 months during the war, to get refitted, and they took all the staterooms out of her and everything, and that's what kept her alive here. And they put the guns on it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the last, when she went from here, that was her last trip.
This service is not only about a ship, but it has to do with the captain, Fogarty Fagan, and all who were aboard it, who indeed had volunteered to give their lives, if need be, for the sake of freedom and liberty.
The Jervis Bay was the lone escort for a convoy of 37 ships. When a German battleship attacked, Captain Fogarty Fagan led his crew of British, Australian, and Canadian seamen on an impossible mission.
The order given by Captain Fogarty was to turn and go for the enemy. And so the engines began speeding up to full speed, with the guns barking before the shells could reach the enemy to let them know that they were on the way.
Within minutes, the Jervis Bay was on fire, but her crew continued to fight for 2 more hours, enough time for the rest of the convoy to escape.
It was such a heroic thing to do. I think it caught the imagination because the ultimate thing is to lay one's life down for one's country. And these men knew they were doing this right from the word go.
The three generations now, the younger ones will remember.
Brian Reeve came to St. John with his son and grandson from Hull, England, to honor his father. James Reeve was a shipwright on the Jervis Bay and had sailed on her before she went to war. Brian was only 4 in 1940.
On the last leave he came home, he bought me a little toy and then went back. And that's the last time I saw him.
Captain Fagan went down with his ship and was recommended by King George VI for a Victoria Cross. The rest of the crew are still honored by their adopted city. That fact impresses Reeve and the other visitors.
It means a great deal, because most people in England have forgotten about it. For some reason, the people in St. John still remember it in a great way.
I think it's absolutely fantastic, and that's why we made this special effort to get over here, because it's not supported this way at home like it is here. And we were so touched when we found out, you know, how much this meant to the Canadians and to the local Legion, that we really felt that it was our duty to come and support them.
For First Local, I'm Brian Chisholm.